what's up, everybody? How's it going? We're here bringing you no credentials required at a special live time.
Okay, now I can start the show. I'm an idiot.
No, it's all right. I didn't know if we were live. I was like, I better go.
No, my computer just my tabs decided to go wonky on me. So let's
No.
do a proper introduction.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ryan's computer went destructo on us, but also welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. To my right is a man who tried out for the Albany Empire, but was released upon finding out that he was actually two midgets in a trench coat. We've got Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing tonight?
I can't believe they discovered me. I'm doing
they
all
found
right.
you out.
I'm doing all right. That's the beauty of live, folks. We are live right now. And I've just decided, the weather's beautiful, everything's good, but I've decided that I'm going to stop actively rooting for teams on the show because I felt like I jinxed the Kraken last week. I told them to unleash, and it didn't happen.
And they didn't. They didn't. That's unfortunate, but we're here to talk some sports. There was a lot going on last week, going into this week. We've got plenty of time to talk about it. But first, we just want to remind you about our social media channels, which are right down here below. If you're watching live, Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok is at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, on YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. And since this is a live show, well, we'll get to that in a second. But on the podcast side, you can subscribe wherever you find podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartMedia. Tune in wherever you podcast. Subscribe to us. And also, if you be kind, rate and review 5 stars. That's many stars. We would like you to rate. Also, leave a review. It means that this podcast will be noticed around more. And engage with the show. This is a viewer engaged show. We've got some comments already. And Dustin, I know you've been waiting all week to hear this beautiful, beautiful sound.
Oh, I have. Lay it on me.
All right. As you wish. Yeah, so engage with us during the show. We got some comments already. Jeff joining us. He just uses a smiley face. Cold Iron says, I'm in here. Yes, you are. And Jeff says, hey, friends. Hope you're having a good day. Got to be better than that A's announcer.
Oh, yeah.
And Cold Iron says, yeah, he unemployed.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was a rough slip, if that's what it was.
Yeah, to say the least. The least.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, speaking of baseball, we're going to dive right in, and we're going to talk about now, we're in the upstate New York. We've got a myriad of teams represented in this area. Since we're in the middle of about 6 major metropolitan areas, we're both Yankee fans. Full disclosure, Dustin and I are Yankees fans. We've been kind of wondering about the slow start between both the Yankees and the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
But now it appears that the Yankees and the Mets have had their swagger back. The Yankees, they swept 2 lower echelon teams, that being the aforementioned Oakland A's, and they swept the Cincinnati Reds this weekend. Yeah. And they took 3 out of 4 in Toronto, which is a huge thing because Toronto was ahead of them, and now the Yankees are up in front. They're in 3rd place in the American League I call them the American League beast because every single team
Yeah, what a
is
division this
above
year.
500. What a
Yeah.
division this was. This
Yeah.
is currently. They're right behind. They're 3 games behind Baltimore. They're 5.5 games behind Tampa. They're starting to get. I think they're starting to pick things up with Aaron Judge returning.
Mhm.
The Mets, meanwhile, they've won their last 5 in a row. They took 2 out of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays, and they swept the series this past weekend. So, Dustin, is it safe to say that both the Yankees and Mets, after kind of a swoon starting in the beginning of the season, is there swagger back? Is the swagger back for both teams?
Well, I think so, to some degree, to the degree that it can be, because we always have to remember baseball is an extremely long season, and it is oftentimes it's a war of attrition, to use a somewhat inappropriate term, but I think a lot of it relies on health. When you're missing one of the biggest bats in your lineup, it's not. Ideally, it's the idea is next man up, right? But there's some talent that you just can't replace. We talk about the wins above replacement level, the war, all that stuff. There are some players that are just key to teams, but it does seem that that both teams are starting to find their groove a little bit. Now, there will be ebbs and flows over the season, but the Yankees did what they were supposed to do against 2 teams. You don't want to call them lesser than, but it's the fact of where they are right now.
Let's put it this way: the Oakland A's. I'm sorry to interrupt. I
Yes.
sound to interrupt your train of thought here,
No.
but the Oakland A's are a glorified AAA team,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is unfortunate.
and they're probably, unfortunately for the city of Oakland, they're probably going to be moving to Vegas at some point. That deal, they're working on that, and I do feel bad for fans of that team that they're moving again, possibly. But I will say that if Wanko the Sane is in the chat, I want to ask him why his
Oh, he
Cincinnati
is.
Reds.
He says, "Hey, everybody, what's good?"
I want to ask him why his Reds are not bringing up some of these young prospects. They're not going anywhere. Christian Encarnacion Strand was a player that was like on fire in the spring, and it seemed like he was a shoo-in to make the roster. He did not make the roster, and then they've got Ellie De La Cruz in there. So the Reds do have some young talent in the minors that is scorching it up, and you got to wonder why Cincinnati's not bringing them up. Is it a time management issue? Is it a what's that thing where the teams leave the players in the minors for certain times because then they don't have to? It's something with the contracts.
That's to do with the contracts.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know if it's that issue or if the Reds just feel that they need more seasoning down there. But in my opinion, when you're in a position like the Reds are, bring those guys up, see what they can do. And as far as the Mets, I still am skeptical because I just don't know if Scherzer and Verlander can hold up because they're a little, let's face it, they're still good at what they do, but they're older. And you have to wonder if their bodies can handle the rigor of a full major league season. However, I do feel like the Mets are starting to put it together a little bit. And I've always had faith in Buck Showalter as a manager. I've always had a soft spot for Buck. It seems like he rebuilds teams a little bit. He gets them on the right track, and then they always let him go. Except for those Ranger teams, there wasn't much he could do there. But
Yeah,
he's always been a good manager. I've liked Buck.
yeah, me too. I even back in the Yankee years, and also with Albany Colony. Don't forget, he was with the Albany Colony Yankees, the AA team for the New York Yankees back in the late '80s, early '90s. And the little work he did with Baltimore too, when Baltimore had their heyday back in the mid 2010s, when they were regularly in the playoffs too.
Yep.
And it's not going to. It doesn't hurt that Uncle Stevie's money. Can help with getting Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, and signing Francisco Lindor to a long-term extension. So none of those things help. But I guess for a span of 20 plus innings, the Mets didn't hit a home run at all, and that streak ended on on it was Wednesday against Tampa Bay when they went extra innings and they went up winning the game on a walk-off home run.
Yeah, and you know what? The only knock I've had against, and this is heavily slanted towards fantasy baseball because I play. But I've wondered why Buck is not playing some of the young prospects that they brought up. I mean, they brought up Francisco Alvarez to play catcher. Everybody's excited talking about the big bat. He's going to be in the lineup. And then they didn't play him. And Brett Beatty, to some degree, they brought him up. He's another one of their big prospects. He hasn't really played all that much either. But they did have some injuries at catcher, which prompted the Mets to bring up Gary Sanchez, which I had forgotten that he was even on the roster, quite frankly, or in their system.
They had signed him to a minor league deal. He was playing in AAA for a bit, and then they brought him up because of injuries, as you mentioned.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. It's a long season, but I do think to some degree both New York teams have started to get their confidence back. And as you mentioned, the AL East is just ridiculous. I think there was a division that I'm trying to remember. I think it was the division with the Cubs, Pirates, Reds,
NL Central.
Yes, I think every team in the division in the AL East had a better, like if they were in the NL Central, they would be winning the division right now. Every team.
Yep.
Every team. It was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's going to be a fun season to watch.
Yeah, and look, we talked about it in April. Baseball season's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
And right now the Mets I wouldn't say left for dead, but they were let's just say they weren't exactly doing great in the National League standings. I think they were in 4th place at one point, and they've shot themselves up to 2nd place in the division. Even with the 14, even though they're in the red when it comes to run differential right now with the minus 14, they're still in 2nd place in the division. And right behind them, half a game behind them, Dustin, you know who's half a game behind the Mets for 2nd place in the National League East?
I haven't checked the standings, but I'm going to just throw out a random guess and say the Marlins.
The Miami Marlins are in 3rd place by half a game. That's how bad the National. I wouldn't say how bad the National League East is, but here's the thing with Miami: they're in 3rd place in the National League East with a minus 54 run differential. They
can't.
They're
score
one game
runs.
above 500. They can't score runs, but
they
win games.
Yes, they are winning these 1-run games. It's like ridiculous. And the thing I will say about the Marlins, I don't know much about their organization. I don't pretend to, but they have good pitching. They have been able to consistently develop and bring up good pitching over the last few years. And if you have good enough pitching, it can offset a lot of problems. Now, for me, I feel like the Yankees have been the opposite for the last few years. Their pitching has been shaky, and it's still my biggest worry because every free agent signing in recent years that they try to bring in, Carlos Rodon, disaster so far. Frankie Matas, no good. Severino, on and off. He's good when he's healthy, but he
made his debut yesterday. And he pitched only, I think 7. They only let him pitch, I think 70 or 85 pitches, and he wasn't happy about it either. But he was pitching well. He was pitching pretty well. He pitched 4 2/3, allowed only 1 run, which was kind of questionable. They had to go to instant replay for that. I don't know if you saw the highlights or not. And Aaron Boone got tossed, which, you know what? For as much as I criticize him for being a guy who I believe is really an AI machine.
Yeah.
Because he relies too much on the analytics. He's a Boone GPT.
Yeah.
He goes to bat. No pun intended. He goes to bat for his players.
He does do that.
He's not afraid of getting thrown out for arguing his case, which he did yesterday. Which he did yesterday when Bowers had that mishandle in the outfield. It looked like it was a foul ball, wound up being a fair ball, and the Reds wound up scoring the first run of the game. Not that it mattered because the Yankees wound up scoring 4 runs. Thanks to Harrison Bader, who had 3 RBIs. But you've seen Boone getting tossed a couple times this year, and you're starting to see him. I guess you would say care a little bit more about winning, maybe because he's got a fire under his butt because of all that's happening with the Yankees not winning a World Series since 2009.
Yeah.
So maybe his job's on the line. We don't know that it is. Maybe that's why he's getting all fired up all of a sudden. So it's good to see Booney getting a little bit fired up. I understand they designated Aaron Hicks for assignment this afternoon. The comparisons to Jacoby Ellsbury are a little extreme.
Yeah,
but I get it. He's not that. I mean, the thing is, he's not. His bat isn't great. He's pretty good in the outfield. He's decent. He's a decent outfielder. He's not. His bat is. He'll give you the odd home run every so often, take the lead, but otherwise he's just.
Yeah.
They trade for him back in the day, and they give him this huge contract. I think it was just the expectations that really made his career as a Yankee unspectacular.
Well, and we talked about it last show with Wise. Not everybody's built for the scrutiny of the New York media and market. I mean, the example that I always use, because it's the one that stuck out to me the most, is Jeff Weaver. Jeff Weaver pitched unbelievably in Detroit. You know, the Yankees brought him in on that big contract back in the day, and you could see him. If he gave up a big hit, he was visibly shaken on the mound, and he did not, he would get angry with himself, and it did not bode well for him. And his Yankee tenure was largely rocky, if memory serves. And then he went to another team. I'm trying to remember. I always get him confused with his brother, because his brother pitched for the Angels for a long time. But and then he was better after that. It was just smaller markets work better for some players.
Yeah. I mean, look at Sonny Gray. Look what happened to him. He was brought in. He was traded to the Yankees, didn't perform well, was released, and I believe he's part of Cincinnati's pitching staff, or is it?
I think it's
Minnesota.
I think he's on the Twins now. Yeah, he has bounced around. I think he was with Cincinnati not too long ago. But he was traded from the Oakland A's originally, was he not?
Yes,
I think
he was.
So yeah, Sonny, another guy where it just didn't seem to work out. But
yeah, and Aaron Hicks was designated for assignment over the weekend, so it was on Saturday he was DFA'd. So he'll earn his $27 million. Just won't be as a New York Yankee, which is unfortunate. Like I said, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Yeah. So we're gonna. So we talk about now. I get it. The Yankees pitching is much to be desired. It's. I think they can improve once Sevy's back on the mound. So it's one less thing you have to worry about. But with Carlos Rendon, again, like you said, right now it's a disaster signing. I wish they would have signed him last year, because they would have used that extra left-handed arm. And Frankie Montas, he's done for the year. Yeah, because of Tommy John, or was it shoulder surgery?
I'm not sure. I think it might have been shoulder surgery. Whatever it was the thing that I think it was originally. Oh, we're going to rehab it. Won't need surgery, and now we do. But I could be wrong about that. But I want to say it was shoulder, because he had issues when he came over last year, yes. I think, with his shoulder. So I want to say it was something related to that. But yeah, it just no good. And I'm one of these people. I love the pitch clock, but I do think to some degree it hurts a pitcher like Nestor Cortez, who worked a little slower and relied on deception, because of that delivery. But maybe I think the pitch clock does some of these pitchers that used to like to work slower. You can't do it anymore.
Right. And I just looked it up. He had arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder. He's expected to miss the majority of the 2023 season. So who knows if we'll see him this season.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen Carlos Rendon in a Yankees uniform yet. So who knows? Before we take our first commercial break, we're going to address some of our friends who are in the chat. We got Uncle the saying, hey everybody, what's good? Jeff S says couldn't have been intentional. I'm thinking, trying to remember what we're referring to. Oh, the A's announcer getting let go because of that unfortunate circumstance. Jeff says, "Yep, my Jays slipping, but a long way to go." Yeah, I mean, right now the Blue Jays are in last place in the AL East, but they're still 3 games above 500.
Yeah,
the division they had a rough series. Ridiculous. They had 3 of 4 taken from them by the Yankees, and I think they had 2 or 3 taken them from them by Baltimore, which is a friend of the show, Eric Arditi, big Orioles fan. I don't know if you got a chance to see the City Connect jersey release for the Baltimore. So it looked all right. It was like all black uniform with the different cap. Sick Diggy joining us all the way from Norway. Friend of the show, Sick Diggy says, "Wait a second, Ryan McCarthy. Shouldn't you have a certain PSA when talking about the Yankees?" I have asked for that. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting on that from a certain Mr. Cole Johnson. Jeff says, "Phew." When Dustin said to use an inappropriate term, my heart skipped a beat. And Sick also says, "Actually, Dustin, war of attrition is an accurate term in any sport, especially when it comes to the playoffs." Absolutely. Jeff said years of eligibility. That's why you see certain prospects stay in the minor leagues for a little bit longer because of years of eligibility. Cold Iron says, "I heard the White Sox might having a fire sale soon."
Well, they do have some players. I'd be interested in a few. Maybe Andrew Vaughn.
Yeah. 60 asks, "What in the hitless Gary Sheffield is going on at the Miami Marlins?"
They're finding ways to win games, though.
Finding ways to win.
And they've got the pitching. They've got some pitching. I mean, I'll tell you. But Jazz Chisholm just can't stay healthy. That's one of their big bugaboos, too. He's a young star for them, but he just can't stay on the field.
I mean, in regards to the White Sox, I wouldn't mind having Luis Robert Jr. on my team, but provided he can stay healthy. Hawk TV says, "Yo!"
What's up, Hawk?
He also says, "Hopefully the Orioles keep up their stellar season." He's one of our friends who's a bronze sexual. They're getting swept tonight, bud. Well, I'll lend you a tissue tomorrow morning on Snowman. And 60 says, "I'm not trying to curse, folks. I understand. We're a PG rated show for sure."
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break from our friends at Invader Coffee, so stay tuned for some more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air-roasted, 100% money-back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Get the best coffee for your hard-earned dollar with some Invader Coffee. Fuel for the fearless. I'm going through a bag of the break in case of emergency right now. I've got another bag of the Outsider, which if you get a bag of the Outsider, you're automatically entered to win a classic muscle car. I believe it's the Chevy Camaro SS, which looks chef's kiss. It's a beautiful machine. Dustin, I know you're also a fan of Invader Coffee. I know you typically drink it on the weekends.
I do.
But just tell the folks at home how you prepare your Invader Coffee.
Oh, I like to. The reason I drink it on the weekends is because I like to use the French press. I like to get in there, take my time, grind the coffee beans. I need to get a bird grinder. I recognize I need to up my game a little bit, but I just have, normal blade-based coffee grinder right now. I like to grind up the coffee beans. I've been getting down on the donut dealer blend still. Some of my favorites, I've gotten the Don't Cali My Texas blend before. I've gotten the Some of the holiday flavors that they do, I really enjoyed. Those were some of my favorites. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to up my K cups, re-up some K cups so I can bring them to the office. I've done
There you
that
go.
from time to time too, because no offense, Green Mountain, but I'll take Invader all day.
It's right. And don't forget, Dustin, you can use the link in the description to help out the show. Plus, use code BELLYUP at checkout for 15% off your order. So help the show, help a veteran-owned coffee company based out of Austin, Texas. They're good folks. They make great coffee. I can't complain about it. So get yourself some Invader coffee today. Whether you're listening on the podcast, whether you're listening on the audio side for your earballs, or you're watching live right now or on the replay, visit our link in the description. Help out the show, and again, 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP. Let's talk about this move about Pat McAfee. I'm not a religious listener to or watcher of Pat McAfee's show. I understand he's very entertaining. Boston Connor, you're not on my Christmas card list because of what you said about Fireman Ed recently. But I guess this Pat McAfee move to ESPN. I know he's been on and off, not say on and off with them. He's more there on a contractual basis. He did his
he was on Game Day, wasn't he?
He was on Game Day. I guess he did an alternate stream for the college football playoff. But Dustin, Pat McAfee's kind of jumped around. He's been independent. He's been on Sirius XM. He's been on Barstool. Now he's with ESPN. And I gotta kind of wonder: is this a good move or a bad move for Pat McAfee and ESPN, or both?
I think this move is better for McAfee than ESPN. I think McAfee is going to get his money. They obviously signed him to a huge deal to take him away from. Was he with Deadspin before that? I'm trying to think of where he was. I can't remember because, like you said, he's jumped around a little bit. But he benefits more from this deal than ESPN. They've been laying off people. They've been in cost-cutting maneuvers, and it's clear that their new approach seems to be, and I do not watch and or listen to ESPN to the degree that I used to. ESPN got me through my workday. I would listen to it constantly. I've since moved on to podcasts now, but ESPN, to me, what they're doing in trying to compete with Fox and some of the other networks that are coming for them is they are just cashing in on what they see their big stars. You turn on ESPN nowadays, you're going to see Mike Greenberg, you're going to see Scott Van Pelt, who I still like, does the late edition of Sports Center. That to me, he is one of he's still creative at ESPN. He's not willing. He's not afraid to take some chances. But you're going to see Mike Greenberg. You're going to see a lot of Stephen A. Smith, who I have mixed feelings about. And now with the money that they're purportedly throwing at McAfee, you're going to see a lot of Pat McAfee on those airwaves. So I think ESPN is cashing all in on, let's pay a few personalities that are our stars, that are established, and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps with everybody else. And I don't think it allows for growth. I don't think ESPN, maybe I'm misremembering, but it used to seem like it was a place where somebody could come in, somebody like Kenny Mayne, and they're just going to be like, hey, Kenny, go do what you do. Okay. Go do what you do. Make entertaining segments, make some jokes, be a little creative. I feel like ESPN, a little bit of that is lost,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think McAfee ultimately benefits from this move because they still are, despite the fact that I think they've lost a step to my eye, they still are one of the worldwide leaders, in sports, sports. I don't want to say entertainment because it'll sound like I'm talking about the WWE.
No, sports talk.
Yeah, sports talk. Yep, sports coverage. They're still one of the biggest names, but I just don't. Like you said, I'm not the biggest fan of McAfee. I don't listen to a lot. I don't dislike him either, but I'm also not. He's not going to make me tune in.
Yeah, usually at 12 noon, I'm watching or listening to Rod Peterson, friend of the show, Rod Peterson. I'm hoping to bring him over during the summer, hoping to have him on again. He's been on a couple times on this program. Usually I'm watching / listening to him. I've dove into McAfee a little bit here and there. I watched his interview with Aaron Rodgers when he not formally, but informally announced his intention to play with the New York Jets this year. Mm-hmm. So that was a pretty long interview, but he's an entertaining guy. I know there's some things they'll have to change because of the fact that they're on ESPN. They're on not terrestrial, but they're on ESPN now.
Yeah.
Not you won't be hearing a lot of F-bombs anymore.
Yeah.
Like he has now, because he's syndicated to Sirius XM and DAZN, DAZN.
Okay, I think. Yeah.
He's signed. I'm looking at his Wikipedia file and his Wikipedia page, and I don't know how reliable it is, but it says in December 2021 he announced a 4-year $120 million deal with FanDuel, making them the sole odds provider for the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, so FanDuel is what I was thinking of, not Deadspin. Deadspin doesn't, it was a slip.
It's where sports journalism goes to die. That's what Deadspin is. But I mean, it could benefit both sides. I know they said, ESPN said that Pat McAfee has full creative control. We're not going to control what kind of content he's going to release. I believe he said that he's going to keep things. He's going to keep the spirit of the show alive with their takes. But I kind of wondering.
Yeah, he'll have to rein it in a little bit.
You'd have to rein in the cussing a little bit, of course, because it's ESPN.
Yeah. They're a Disney affiliated.
Yes, they're affiliated with the mouse.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty good, Mickey.
Thank you.
Last week it was Bob Shepard. This week it's Mickey. I mean, maybe we'll
Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
We'll start cataloging your voices here. We'll get you like a voiceover reel.
So we're going to go back to the comments section. Our buddy Kevin Wilson from Belly Up Fantasy Sports. He says, is there anything on ESPN besides PTI worth paying attention to? I don't really watch ESPN programming a whole lot anymore unless there's a game on. I don't watch the commentary. I don't watch Get Up. I don't watch First Take. I used to listen / watch those programs. I don't really do that a whole lot anymore.
Yeah.
It just sounds like the loudest voice in the room gets all the attention, and I don't like that kind of programming. I like shows like ours.
Yeah, we're doing okay. But to answer your question, Kevin, from my perspective, PTI is I'll tune into it once in a while because I like the chemistry between Kornheiser and Wilbon, and
they keep the format consistent. They've always kept it consistent. That's the one thing that's the one thing about Kornheiser and Wilbon that you cannot take away from them, is that the format is always consistent. They have their opening segment, they go through the list, and they have their big interview, and they go through the last segment with the mailbag and happy trails and any corrections. They used to have corrections with Tony Reale.
Yes.
I guess they stopped that. Now that he's now that he's on
Around the Horn.
Around the Horn, yes.
Yeah, see, that's the other show that I would watch a lot more back in the day. And I still watch it every once in a while, but not like I used to. I used to watch it a lot when Woody Page, Jay Mariotti, and like some other people were on there.
Yeah, I don't watch as much anymore because Sarah Spain. I found Sarah Spain annoying. I talked about her in the you can listen to back episodes, not right now, but I talked about the whole incident with the Tampa Bay Rays Pride Night and how certain players wouldn't wear the caps, and she felt that they were being bigoted, and I said, no, you're being a little ignorant, Sarah Spain. So I have not been blocked and reported on social media about that take, because let's just face it, she's not gonna listen to this show.
Oh man, if she did,
Although she should.
if she did, and then you got into a nice,
I get the blocking. I get the block. I'll get the blocking charge. Well, that's what'll happen. I'll get the blocking charge.
Yeah.
Jeff says, "Hey, that's Kevin Wilson. Maybe in a couple of years, Ryan and Dustin could take over for Tony and Wilbon."
Oh man. I don't have Wilbon's style. I probably would be more of a Tony Kornheiser.
Listen, the mouse can't handle this beautiful beard that's been trimmed by Manscaped. 20% off with code BELLYUP20.
Oh, nicely done.
And free shipping. Sick Diggy asked, could the fact that McAfee is a new father factor in his move to ESPN? He recently had his daughter a few weeks ago. Actually, correction, his wife had his daughter a few weeks ago. Just want to like the distinction, Sick. But I don't know. It could be a factor. I mean, it's guaranteed money. It's a guaranteed job. He's already an analyst with College Game Day. So in a way, it could be a factor. I didn't listen to the episode, so I really don't know what his description of the whole thing that went down was. I just knowing from reading reports, he may have alluded to that fact. I'm not really sure. One of our guys at Belly Up, Jared, who's been on the show, friend of the show, Jared from Corner Booth. He's a huge Pat McAfee fan. He's a huge Pat McAfee fan. So I'm about to get some insight from him as to why he made that move. But yeah, the fact that he has a daughter in his life, he has a child in his life, could have been a huge factor as to why he went to.
Could have took the opportunity to try to set her up, for life.
It's
true. Got to figure he's making enough. And I mean, McAfee, I don't know what his net worth is. I'm not going to do the Google, but with his
that's what I do
with his NFL career and also his previous deals and now this ESPN deal. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he did some stuff with WWE.
He did.
So
he was at WrestleMania this year.
He's got some money coming in, no question.
Yeah, apparently he had a hell of a match a couple of years ago at War Games with NXT. But that's neither here nor there. I did look up his net worth. It's apparently, according to Sportskeeda, it's estimated as of March 31st to be around $30 million. All
right.
So not counting endorsement earnings, which is 120 mil, which is from the odds deal with FanDuel. And Kevin says to Jeff, I'd like to put my name in the running for that gig. Yeah, wouldn't we all? But I don't know. I don't know if our show's up. I don't know. We don't yell enough on that show, Dustin.
We're not screaming at everybody.
We're not screaming at each other and trying to be the loudest voice in the room. And remember, folks, just because you're the loudest voice in the room doesn't mean you're right.
But maybe I'll wear a jacket and a turtleneck for next week's show and see how it goes over. I think that's one of Wilbon's trademark moves.
Well, we're gonna talk some more sports, folks. We'll come back in just a moment. First, here's a word from one of our sponsors at Belly Up Sports at SeatGeek. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. That's right, folks. SeatGeek.com. Enter promo code BellyUp at checkout. You get $20 off your first order of $50 or more. Plenty. Summer's here. Concerts. Lots of live games. Baseball games. Get yourself to Yankee Stadium or Shea Stadium if you live in New York. Up here in New York, upstate New York, SPAC, the Surgical Performing Arts Center, is the place to be during the summer. Well, the music festivals and big concerts that usually come in the area. So get yourself to SeatGeek, buy yourself some tickets, and save some money with promo code BellyUp. You get $20 off your first order of $50. Dustin, I've used SeatGeek in the past. I think it's where I acquired our tickets for the New Jersey Devils Edmonton Oilers game we went to back in 2021. So, what are you looking forward to this summer for sporting, for any kind of sporting events or or concerts?
I'd like to try to get to. I'd like to try to get to a Yankee game, maybe. There's nothing like summer baseball. I also am looking forward to there. As far as sporting events, Yankees are pretty much it.
Mhm.
Maybe I'd go to the Mets to see Citi Field. I've heard it's very nice. Um,
Mhm.
but
I've heard it's nicer than Yankee Stadium. As some of my friends
yeah, the
said
new
that.
Yankee Stadium, I gotta say, I mean, it's nice, but it's lost the magic that the old Yankee Stadium had. But that's neither here nor there. But you and I have both been to that ballpark. As a matter of fact, together, I will say the
Yes.
food options at the new Yankee Stadium, very good, very good. But I'm mostly looking forward to maybe some concerts. I'd like to see what's available at SPAC, but you won't find me there on Saturday or Friday. I've never been a Dave Matthews fan. People are going to come for me in the
Yeah.
comments. But also, I'd love to check out some comedy shows. Maybe I'll go on SeatGeek and see if I can score some tickets. Maybe some Burt Kreischer tickets, something like that.
Ooh, yes, right. Bert Kreischer's coming to the MVP arena in I think it was November or
Yeah,
December.
I think so, something like
Uh,
that. Yeah.
awesome. Dustin, you can get your tickets on SeatGeek and get $20 off your first order of $50 using promo code Belly Up Sports at checkout.
Thank you very much. I will do that.
There you go.
Belly up all day.
Yeah, I'm saving you all sorts of money today between
Yeah,
Invader Coffee and SeatGeek. I mean, come on.
yeah.
Oh, another ticket you can go to. You can go to the MVP arena and watch watching the burning of the Albany Empire, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But first order of business, we're going to talk about the Arizona Coyotes. Last week, Maricopa County, the city of Tempe, had a big vote as to whether or not they will allow the Arizona Coyotes and others to purchase land to purchase land to put up an arena and an entertainment district. And that vote failed. And not only did it fail, it failed resoundingly by 12 points. 56%
Wow.
of residents in Tempe said absolutely not, even though it was reported that the arena and the development of the arena and the entertainment district around it was going to be privately funded, not public. There was going to be no
Oh,
public
no public
money
money.
involved. It was
Wow.
all private money. But this kind of leaves the question, and I wrote an article about this on bellyupsports.com. You can go check it out at your leisure. But this kind of leaves a question, Dustin. With this vote failing, are the Arizona Coyotes done? Are they moved? Do you think they'll be moving? Do you think there'll be a strike? There'll be a deal made where they stay in the area? Because right now they're currently playing. I'll go into it a little bit more. But
Yeah.
what's your take on this? Are the Arizona Coyotes done?
Well, you had said last week on this show, and you are more educated on this fact than I am, but you had said that Gary Bettman is going to do everything in his power to have them stay in Arizona. And I don't know. This arena vote is a bad sign, though. When you told
Yeah.
me that it's public, there was no public money, because that's usually taxpayers don't want to foot the bill, which you can understand.
No. And
Um,
nor should they.
yeah, and we've had discussions about that very fact on this show before, but I'll tell you, it doesn't bode well. And I don't know many people. I'm trying to think if I know anybody that lives in the area, but I remember hearing Mike Golick of ESPN, formerly of ESPN, talk about how he liked going to Arizona Coyotes games and how he felt like there were passionate fans there and they loved having them there. He used to talk about it from time to time, if I remember correctly. But I I know that you said Bettman doesn't want him to move, but this arena deal falling through, um, like you said, somewhat resoundingly. I don't know what the other option is. I really don't. I hope they don't move. I don't, but that it's not a good sign for sure.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the very checkered history of the Arizona Coyotes, they moved from Winnipeg back in 1996. They couldn't secure an arena deal in Winnipeg at the time. Now they acquired the Atlanta Thrashers back in the day. But it's been through several owners. They've moved to 2 different arenas. They played at the America West Arena for the first 8 seasons. Then they moved to Glendale because America West Arena was not built for hockey.
Mhm.
The arena in Glendale, which is the Jobing Arena, jobing.com arena, then now it's the Gila River Arena, named after the casino. They got kicked out of Glendale because they couldn't pay the bill, or the city of Glendale broke their lease. It was a 15-year lease with the city of Glendale, and the city of Glendale broke their lease with them, leaving them homeless temporarily. They currently play at the Mullet Arena, which is a 5,000 seat arena at the
Wow.
University of Arizona State, which has a hockey program as well, if you didn't know that. So they've been they've gone through several owners. They went through bankruptcy in 2009. The league took over for them. I'm going through the brief history of all that's gone on with Arizona because
didn't they bring in Wayne Gretzky into ownership at one point too?
They did, and they had him coach the team too. There was no rules against him coaching the team while he was part owner of the team. So they've gone through so many ownership changes. They've gone through arena deals that have gone through, and now this latest thing with Arizona, with the Coyotes arena proposal failing. It's been just a messy situation for the last 25 years, and I think it's time for Gary Bettman, and this is Moby Dick. This is he's Captain Ahab chasing Moby Dick. He's been trying to make that work for over 25 years. Now with this latest hit, I think he might have to just say, we got to move on from this. Mm-hmm. And they're only in, I think the Coyotes said they're committed to staying in Mullet Arena for this coming season. But who knows after that? And we could see them move elsewhere. I mean, there's talks about them moving to Houston or Kansas City or Salt Lake. I mean, even Salt Lake City was mentioned too.
Wow.
There's a market for hockey up there. They keep mentioning Quebec, but I don't think the league will consider another Canadian team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if they would try to bring back, Quebec was the first one I thought of, and the other one I thought of, and I know it's probably a pipe dream, but wouldn't it be nice if a city has to lose their team? Wouldn't it be nice if we saw the Whalers in the NHL once again?
Well, what would be hilarious is if Atlanta got a team back, because here's what would happen. Because this is the funny thing that would happen. Atlanta, the Thrashers, moved to Winnipeg to become the Jets, the second iteration of the Jets, while the old Winnipeg Jets moved to Arizona, and then from Arizona they moved to Atlanta, which means Atlanta lost their team to the new Jets, but they acquired the old Jets.
Yeah. That would be some crazy synergy right there.
Oh my goodness! And I don't know if you follow the Twitter the account, the @NotThrashers. It's one of the best hockey accounts on Twitter. You gotta follow it. It's such a great account.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a follow for sure.
Oh, it's hysterical. Back to the comment section before we have our last segment. 6 says, fair point. His wife brought their daughter into the world, but Father's Day is a few weeks away. That's right. It's on the 18th. It's the 18th of June. Jeff asks, random question: how do you guys know one another? Basically, our sisters are best friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our sisters know each other from working together back in the day during the summer. I was introduced to Dustin back in 2011. We've been friends ever since.
Yep.
And our sisters are basically best friends.
Yep. And also we got to give a hat tip to OBX for bringing us further together.
It's true. It's true. Several trips to Outer Banks. We've hung out. We've smoked cigars together. We've drank whiskey together. We've had good times and bad times together. So, we're basically family now.
Yeah. Yep.
6 says, any place that Bert Kreischer performs is bear country / dad bod country. Absolutely. And I'm surprised that he's coming back to Albany after some of the things he said a while back.
Yeah.
But I think we've forgiven him.
Yeah. Yeah, we have. He came to the Palace not too long ago. I went with Amanda. It was a great show.
Yeah.
And now, hopefully he's coming back.
Yeah. He also says any other comic that performs shirtless should be sued for gimmick infringement. Yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm
guess
sure
so.
his legal team is on that. No, I don't
Absolutely.
know.
Kevin says send the Coyotes to Salt Lake City. Somebody mentioned that. So there was a mention that Patrick Mahomes said that the Coyotes should move to Kansas City, and somebody from a Phoenix, somebody on social media from a Phoenix sports something said, yeah, make sure you just maybe instead of concentrating on bringing the Coyotes to Kansas City, you should keep your brother out of jail.
Oh man.
Woo! Shots
Coming
fired.
off the top rope on Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my God, the elbow.
Yeah.
Six says the next arena should be called the Crew Cut or Buzz Cut. He also says Quebec City and Hartford were in my thoughts as well. And he also says, how about United Flat Top Arena? Sure, why not? All right, well, we got to go a couple minutes. We're going to keep things short tonight because Dustin's got a commitment. But we just want to mention our hometown Albany Empire.
Oh my goodness.
It is currently burning to the ground, and a certain owner named I won't mention his name. We'll just call him Tony. He's playing the fiddle. Now, if you haven't followed the events of the Albany Empire, a certain football player with a certain, we'll just say temperament, reputation, and it's not a good reputation.
Yeah.
He bought into minority ownership in March, and then 10 days later they fired their head coach that had been there the last 2 seasons, who delivered them 2 championships. Hired the offensive coordinator as the interim head coach. 3 weeks later, he's let go because of complaints of pay, along with 8 players. Then they bring back the former head coach, and after a 45-point loss on Saturday against Jacksonville, at the end of the game, he resigns. And not only that, but the quarterback they brought in, who is a very good quarterback, Jonathan Bain, he leaves the team. And now we hear that this particular player is going to be playing this coming Saturday at MVP Arena. Now, whether or not it'll be to a captivated crowd of just over 1,000 because it's Memorial Day weekend, it's a mess. This is a mess.
Yeah.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I felt for the players who were released. Some of them I know personally, and now it's a messy situation has turned messier. We actually had a report, an article from Abby Rebell from Times Union. Again, fantastic reporter. Check out her stuff about the minority ownership who stayed behind and owns 5% of the team. They haven't been allowed back into the arena since this particular person, we'll just call Tony, was given majority ownership of the team. I guess I understand. I listened to Levac and Goss today. Allegedly, he still owes the dollar to previous ownership that got sold to. Dustin, I know you're not too familiar with this situation.
Didn't some of that previous ownership buy into another team in the league as well?
Yes, bought it to the Orlando Predators, which is funny because that's where three of the players who got kicked off the team wound up going, including the league MVP from last season. He's now on that team.
Oh man. Which, a credit to that owner. He did say, continue to support the Empire. This is not a shot at the Empire. He did come out and say some of those things, but man, this is a sinking ship. I mean, and in record time too. He's come in and he's completely blown it up. Completely.
Oh, business is booming, Dustin. Business is booming. Unfortunately, he's blowing it up.
Yeah. He and the thing is, people, sometimes the internet is used for very bad things. Sometimes the internet is used for very good things. But the one thing you can say about the internet is they're always going to have thoughts. And somebody said, "Oh, he just had to buy a team so that there would be a team that would allow him to play." And
Ugh.
I thought that was pretty good. I thought that one made me chuckle. But I'm just sad that it's my hometown team. And like
Yeah,
you said, it's a lot of the you feel for a lot of these players because they don't know what's going on. These guys are just trying to make a living, and he's turning it into a circus here.
yeah, and the unfortunate part is that the Albany Empire are making national headlines for all
Yeah.
the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And it's not enough already that Albany gets treated like a joke a lot in terms of the sports landscape, because we've had so many teams
Yeah.
cycle through this region, which is
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate because you want to be proud of your hometown. You want to be proud
Yeah.
of the area you live in, and often it gets taken away, or it just the things get taken away, teams get taken away, or they move, or they find other places to play. The Albany Empire was something we could be proud of
Yeah.
for quite a while, and now it just seems like it's just one thing right after another. It's a literal circus. And we talk about Antonio. I'm sorry, Tony.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets jokingly called a clown. Well, this is not just a clown. This is the entire circus now, and it's unfortunate. It's seriously unfortunate, and I want to root for this team. I took pictures. I covered this team for different media outlets and also independently, and I have no desire to go and cover them because of all that's going on. Because I don't know who I'm going to be interacting with on a regular basis. At least I knew with the previous regime who I was dealing with, because
Yeah.
I knew the people and I knew who I was dealing with. Now I don't know who I'm dealing with if I decide to reach out for a press credential to cover a game. And I don't even know. I don't even know if I want to buy a ticket because of how this business is being run.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very frustrating, and part of it could be that I'm remembering things with rose-colored glasses, but when I was a kid, I mean, I didn't go to a ton of games, but I remember my dad took me to some Albany Firebirds games, and
Yep.
I really enjoyed those. And Dad also used to get tickets to the Albany Patroons, and
Hmm.
I remember loving those games too. And now they I mean, I remember going to the Knickerbocker Arena at that time. That's what it was, to watch the
Yep.
Patroons play as well. And you had
Hmm.
Phil Jackson coached him at one time. Pat Riley was also affiliated with the Patroons. I
Yep.
mean, it
George
was
Carl.
yeah, George Carl. How could I forget about that? And then, as you mentioned earlier, we had the AC Yankees,
Hmm.
which later became the Diamond Dogs, which I didn't have quite the same affinity for the Diamond Dogs that I did for the Yankees. And maybe it's me remembering things, but there used to be a little bit of juice behind our hometown teams, but
Yep.
it just seems like that era is gone. And I know I'm probably one of the few, but I have some fond memories of the River Rats years here.
Hmm. Yep.
It just it's like you're saying, it's sad. We just can't hang on to anything. And the Devils were a good ticket when they were here. They were a decent team for most of their
Yes.
tenure.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely. This is why Albany can't have nice things, Dustin.
yeah,
Because either people come in and ruin it, or we just don't show up.
yeah,
Although the one franchise that has remained consistent, I'll give them full credit. I'll give them full props. The Tri-City Valley Cats.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say,
Even when they lost their minor league baseball affiliation, they've stayed in. Now they're in an independent league.
mhm,
They're consistent. They're
mhm.
consistent. I haven't been to a game in quite a while. I'm hoping to go down to a game
Yeah, we
this
should do
year.
that. I love
Let's
that. We
go.
should get together for a game. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I love the
Absolutely.
Valley Cats. We used to go with our buddy. I used to go with our buddy Dave a lot.
Yep. Hmm.
A lot, and used to have a night place where I work. Used to do a night with the Valley Cats. Always a good time.
I wonder if they're playing on my birthday this year. Let's double check.
Oh, yeah, that could
Let's
be
double check.
something.
But yeah, let's keep things. I mean, with everything with the Empire, I do want to keep things on a positive note.
Hmm.
With the with our hometown. Let's see, August. late August, I believe they are home. They're playing let's see who they're playing. The Sussex County Miners. So on my birthday.
Is it a fireworks night? Do we know
it is, yes.
Oh, I love I'll tell you, I love their
let's see what's on the promotional schedule for that night. It's NFL night.
Oh, perfect. We have to do it.
Let's go.
We have to do it.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta go on NFL night for the Tri-City Valley Cats.
Yeah.
So I mean, if there's one thing that's gonna be positive about the area, it's gonna be the Tri-City Valley Cats. We gotta make ourselves get ourselves to a game.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully, let's just say this, Tony, sell a team. Sell a team, dude. Tell it to people who care. And also to the commissioner of the NAL, don't be toothless. Do something.
Yeah.
Do something. All right. Well, we're going to conclude things here on No Credentials Required for this edition. But before we do that, on our socials, Twitter, Instagram, the scarcely used TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. Whether you're watching live or on replay, just want to remind you to smash that like button. Smash responsibly. And on the podcast side, subscribe to a myriad of podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartMedia, tune in wherever you find podcasts, rate and review. 5 stars is always preferred. Leave a review. We might even read it on the air. And if you're watching on the replay, leave us a comment. We have plenty of comments in the comment section that happened during our live show. If you leave us a comment, might even read that one on the air too. So that's it for this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. For Dustin Henry, my name is Ryan McCarthy. We've been your hosts, and we hope to see you here. Well, actually, we don't know when the next show is next week because next Monday is Memorial Day here in the United States.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted on as to when we'll have another show, whether it be a Sunday brunch show, Sunday night. Maybe we'll go on Tuesday. We don't know for sure, but we'll let you know when the next show is going to be. So until then, take care of yourselves. Be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Did I lose it?
I don't know. We're live.
The beauty of live TV. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required.